Kyle Shanahan has pretty much been, you can't criticize Kyle Shanahan. He hasn't taken criticism since he was in freaking Washington 10 years ago. Until now, all of a sudden, JT O'Sullivan, Raheem Mostert, Kurt Warner during the season, but mostly on the same day, JT O'Sullivan, Raheem Mostert, it seemed like something has shifted in the air. And do you feel like the criticism is valid?
Yeah, I do. I think Raheem Mostert in particular, I really agree with what he said. Kyle Shanahan's lost 2 Super Bowls because he hasn't run the ball late. One of them, he was the offensive coordinator, I understand. But you go back and you look at the Super Bowl that he lost with the Falcons, and I was looking at it, some stuff on it yesterday. His offense held the ball for 11 minutes in the second half against the Patriots. No,
up 25.
No. I wonder why they lost that game. I wonder why their defense struggled. Well, maybe if your offense had just held onto the ball a little bit and not kept putting them on the field by going 3 now, maybe they would have played a little bit better. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah.
And then in the Super Bowl, you keep, it's kind of the same situation. It's it's Jimmy's fault. He audibled out of the runs. Well, you're the head coach. You control everything that's going on. Maybe you tell him, if you don't like this run, you are audibling to another run. Do not audible to a pass. We want to run the ball here. You're in control.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy doesn't have that kind of control. He has two plays he can choose between. As a coach, you can give him 2 runs. You can do that. There's no rule against that. Give him 2 runs. No, run left, run right. Those are the 2 freaking runs you get, buddy.
Hey,
second to left. Yeah.
Exactly. And there was a big play. There was a big play earlier this year where they audibled, and I think it was Garoppolo audibled from one thing to another, and it was a big play, and people were, it's there. You can it and run it the other direction or whatever. There's lots of ways around it. So I do think that the criticism there is valid, and I think what O'Sullivan said was, when I listened to the points that he made, he definitely made some valid points. I don't agree with all of them, but I do agree with his stance on what took place in the NFC Championship game. Wholeheartedly agree with him there. Even though I can see where he's going when he talks about the injury to Jimmy Garoppolo. I disagree with him a little bit more on the one when it comes to the Trey Lance play. He's not saying that it's wrong to run the quarterback, so take that part out of it. He was talking about, basically, my disagreement is when he's talking about the right guard and his job and what he should have done. I disagree.
Get that initial double team.
Because the scheme is for him to step down, and you're having him step down because you want that defensive tackle. You want him to step down as well because that's opening up the run lane. The problem is Mike McGlinchey needs to make his block. If Mike McGlinchey does his job and gets the block, then it's
I thought it was interesting how poorly McGlinchey executed on that play and Trent Williams.
Yeah, and Trent Williams' execution is poor because of McGlinchey, because he gets tied up because McGlinchey gets beat, and then once
the timing's all off. Yeah, the timing's all off.
And he's a bigger guy, and I know he's quick, but he's not going to run into somebody and then take off at full speed again.
It made me laugh when JT O'Sullivan broke down the one at Josh Johnson and was like, look, I like that you got, a couple extra blockers in, but like this pass concept is like straight from 2004. That killed me. It's like, yeah, you're really running a straight 7-step drop from under center with Josh Johnson against that defense. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? It was amazing.
Yeah.
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 And that's Kyle, though. I mean, his pass concepts aren't exactly cutting edge, man. He called it straight out of 2004. That's harsh.
Yeah. Well, the one for me was the Purdy play, and he talked about it. He said, why are we doing this? I mean, it's one thing if you're going to do it, but why are you leaving the tight end? And I know people keep saying that that's I don't really give a shit if they do. I don't give a shit if they did that against the New Orleans Saints, right? The New Orleans Saints weren't the Philadelphia Eagles. And one of the things he talked about them, he's like, why don't you just use a straight 5-man protection? And still have that tight end.
That was smart. That was totally smart. You have a better chance.
Because
you have a better chance. Or have Debo come around and have him block too. Like, there were 2 or 3 things that JT O'Sullivan suggested that were better than what the Niners did. JT's good.
Well, what JT O'Sullivan said in terms of the 5-man protection, guess what? That won the Super Bowl? That's what they did.
See, and then he immediately transitioned to the nepotism thing. And look, I know I'm a nepotism person. I'm not a coach. I think when you get sons of coaches in the league. Yes, they grew up around the game. Yes, they're conversant in X's and O's, but they didn't play the game at the highest level. And I think they may ask players to execute things that are totally unrealistic like this and say, oh, it's a tough block, but you got to do it. Like, what are we talking about? In no world can Tyler Kroft do this. And maybe if you actually have more coaches in the league who played the game at the highest level, not all of them, but some, maybe there'll be a little bit more empathy to, I'm asking you to do something that, I is actually doable.
Hey, why wasn't Tyler Kroft active the week before against Dallas?
Because he sucks. I'm sorry, Tyler.
He's good enough to go one-on-one with, and you're going to expect him to block one-on-one in the pass protection. He wasn't even active the week before against Dallas. So,
and this thing, it was in the script. It was in the script, Jack. He planned it all week. He was proud of it. They repped it in the freaking walkthrough. And he's like, oh yeah, this is going to get him. This is going to be great. But meanwhile, it was a bad look that Deebo Samuel jogged it, though. It was a bad design, but it was also a bad look. Dude, Deebo, what? They paid you so much money, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's be fair. If he's screaming around there like he's supposed to, it's not going to matter because number 7, he didn't care. That wasn't his responsibility. His responsibility was to get to the quarterback. And you saw that for like 2 plays before that. You saw him doing that. You saw him all season doing that. And 49ers thought they were going to get him.
So the final criticism of Kyle is that his offense is a little outdated in the sense it's all run and pass, and the drop back passing game is not as fleshed out as it should be. Well, as his offenses have proliferated the league and defenses have adjusted, it seems like more and more defenses are doing what the Niners defense does, which is play the run on the way to the quarterback, right? Like who cares? Who gives a damn about stopping the run? Get after the quarterback. And that hurts a play action passing team. All of a sudden, you're not getting them to bite the way they did 20 years ago because it's all about not overreacting to the run and not giving up explosive plays through the air. Mm-hmm. So he needs to adjust.
Yeah.
McVay did.
Yeah, I mean, McVay also got lucky because Jaquaski Tartt dropped the ball. But
lucky. So lucky.